That's what this dude told me previously right before I accepted his friend request. I'm in a lift with Boo the cat, who I rescued from the apartment of Lucia, one of the latest people to disappear after being friended by this guy on Discord. Lucia is dead. I'm next. Here's what I know. Anyone who accepts this friend request hears a knocking at their door. The knocking follows them. Everywhere. As in, it shows up at other doors. Every door. It's not a normal knocking. And as soon as you open the door, you disappear. At least. That's what this Discord guy, Tim, told me when he hired me to find out what's going on. See, Tim doesn't know who's behind the knocking. Either, he claims that every time he tries to chat with a person, within about 5 minutes, they type BRB or hang on a second then they ghost him. Personally, I have to think there's more to his role in this, and just some innocent guy who can't keep a conversation going because people keep exiting. When I agreed to investigate for him, I had him send me all the chat histories with the people who friended him over the past 2 weeks and disappeared. And the first person I ID'd from the chats was Lucia. So that's how I wound up in the lower level of a duplex snooping around an empty apartment while it gets screamed at me. I finally checked where Boo the cat kept me while I'm looking, which was under the bed. I cannot unsee her. Lucia's dead. Screaming face will be in my nightmares for the rest of my life. Which might not be that long, since I'm hearing the knocking now, too, and hearing its chatting with Tim this morning. And unless I can solve this thing, my next update will be my obit. After the lift drops me back at home, I climb back into my basement office with Boo through the egress window since I can't use doors, releasing the cat to hide under the sofa. And I pull up the list of Discord usernames Ted gave me. 8 missing people, and I've only managed to confirm the deaths of 2 of them, Lucia and Quanin, a boomer whose recent birthday will now be a funeral since a neighbor found him tucked in his closet. His mouth was open in a scream. The way his eyes were bulged out, he'll never forget it. Those were his neighbor's words describing him. Same way I found Lucia. Same way I'll probably be found. The thing about the supernatural is, there are always rules. They're just not the same ones we're used to governing our world. A trick to surviving is figuring out a particular entity's playbook before it takes your life. So, based on the fact that Lucia, Quanin, and I all live in the same geographic area, one of the rules of this K-N-O-C-K entity is range. The knocker's influence in the physical world is restricted by distance. And this here is the key point, it's restricted by distance. But distance from what? I checked his IP address. Compare his location to Quanin and Lucia and me. And lo and behold, he's smack dab in the middle of us. The center around which we all turn. Either he's the knocker, or he's its first victim. Next, I run some searches through local news using what I've learned about the deaths so far. And boom, another victim. T-E-M-P-R-A-N-K, E-N-C-R-A-G-E-D-Y. Questions linger in the death of a 15-year-old boy disappeared after what police described as a prank gone wrong. According to authorities, Dwayne and 2 other teenage boys were led streaming their reactions to a Discord server where people described supernatural encounters. The teens told police that Dwayne was spooked by a story of a ghostly entity knocking on a door. In a video that has since gone viral, Dwayne can be seen opening the door, screaming and running from the room. He was later found unresponsive in the crawl space beneath the house and was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities suspect his death to be from natural causes, but an autopsy is pending. And now, my pulse ratchets up. Perspiration beating on my forehead because a viral video. My fingers fly across the keys. One of Dwayne's friends posted it and removed it, but nothing posted is ever truly gone if you know how to search. And there got it. Dwayne's reaction to the prank. It doesn't show his actual death, of course. No, it shows a moment that, from my perspective, is even more important. I'm about to watch him open the door. 3 teens crowd the screen. Yo, check this, says one, braces glinting as he flashes a cocky smile. Bro, show the screen, crows another, seizing the camera. Blurry footage as the lens zooms in on the laptop with the Discord channel. Then the view pans back to the teen with the silver smile, narrating, explaining they're about to debunk this supernatural bullshit while the second teen aims the camera at him. Laughter from both. And then the view panning to the third, sitting by the laptop. He waves. Shy smile. Pushes his glasses awkwardly up the bridge of his nose. And my heart sinks because I know what happens to him. This sweet, nerdy kid. He's toast. The wannabe influencer with the silver smile says. This my man Wayne. He's checking out these scary stories. Supposedly in the next 5 minutes we're gonna hear a knocking. Thud, thud, thud. The camera jumps, and there's a chorus of holy shits, and then a deep baritone voice calls out, "Everything okay in there?" A chubby middle-aged guy with glasses pokes his head into the room, and the boys groan because we are recording, and he backs out and shuts the door. Wannabe influencer and camera boy argue about whether to keep recording or restart. Meanwhile, half out of view as Nostia just a few. Dwayne cocks his head like a golden retriever. His eyes dart to the door. "Can't you hear it?" he asks. He keeps repeating himself louder until camera boy focuses on him and he adds, "Seriously, you can't hear that?" He'll mud. It's unclear who asks this. All three fall to arguing, talking over each other. Yo, he's bullshitting. Just open it. Bro. Hey, Cho W, can you not hear that? It's so fucking loud. He's really scared. Laughs someone, I think it's wannabe influencer. We are about 4 minutes in and I'm at the edge of my seat. Don't open the door. I silently will the trio. As if it weren't a done deal. As if there were any hope for this poor fucking kid. The others keep ribbing him. And he shrills. Why don't you open it then? I feel his panic because I hear the same knocking right now from the door at the top of the basement stairs. K, and OCKK, and OCKK, and OCKK, and OCK, an incessant drumbeat out of sync with my galloping heart. The other to tell him to quit being such a pussy. Look at him. Crying like a little girl. They mock and jeer. Dwayne can't take it anymore and stands up. My heart rages. I don't want to see this next part. He grips the knob. His buddies hoot and holler as Dwayne straightens his back and flings the door wide. The shrill scream that erupts from my laptop all but shatters the speakers. In that moment, Dwayne is not a teenager. He's a child. His terrified wail piercing my eardrums. It lasts only a couple seconds, that shriek. And the camera dropping. Black screen. Then the camera snatched up again, and Dwayne gone ablers printing out of the room, and the view ends on a pair of sliding doors. One flung open to the wintry porch. I'm staring at a blank screen. The video is over. I rewind. Pause. And play back the moment he opens the door. Freeze it. And advance frame by frame until I have a clear view of the open door just after the camera is picked up. I stare. I stare and stare. Numb with shock and horror and a sort of directionless rage. There is nothing visible in the doorframe. I'm no closer now than I was early this morning to figuring out how to beat this thing. I messaged him. TIM, what do you mean they die? How do they die? Huh. They die of fear. Man. Of total fucking terror. TIM, oh no, this is so messed up, what is happening? Video. TIM, oh Jesus. I don't want to watch this. What the hell? Me, you asked me to tell you what happens to people who disappear. This is what? We're playing a game and I don't know the rules. Tim, your Discord is somehow part of the playbook. I'm gonna need access if I'm gonna survive this thing. TIM on access. TIM, you mean my login info? TIM, did I decay? Like I don't even really know you. Come on man. These people died because you friended them. Whether you intended that to happen or not. These deaths come down to you. And so will mine when I'm next. The knocking won't quit. I need to solve this. TIM, but why do you need more than screenshots? TIM, SOI bro, I'll send more screenshots if you want, but not my login. This fucking guy. Screenshot this. I typed it with a pic of my middle finger. But I don't send it because if I do I might as well marinate myself. Lie down on a platter and drink the dinner milk, so I will definitely be cooked. I look again at the video. How there's nothing there. If there is a way to beat this thing, it's in Tim's account. And I'll need his cooperation. So I unclench my jaw, sit back in my chair, and smile. Here's a little confession. My reformation from a conman to a paranormal investigator isn't so much a revolutionary change as it is the same old tune with some new lyrics. Yeah, it's been a couple years since I cleaned up my act, but even reformed. I'm still a coyote wagging his tail to convince the world that he's a friendly dog. And whether I'm swindling some poor sap out of his savings, or just winning over my girl's skeptical family, it's the same performance. Because you see, it's not actually that difficult to get people to trust you. I do what I call the triple A's: ask, agree, affirm. First I ask about you. Something simple and easy. Whatever you say. I agree with you. And then I affirm your feelings. Rinse and repeat. Babe, I got you. I am a validate your feelings. Just like when I'm catfishing. I'll glean little bits of information from the things you tell me. Build my profile of you from that so I know what you want to hear. I'll make you feel so seen. I delete my middle finger message to Tim and say, hey man, I get it. I'm just being cautious. If you can help me with screenshots. Or a lifesaver. The screenshots he sends me are worthless. But I use them to learn more about him. In one of them he confides, I swear my attempts at conversation repel people. I wish I could meet someone online who cares without actually talking to you. Hey man. I care. Right now. Timmy boy. I care about you more than anyone in the world. Yeah. It's almost impossible to make a real connection. I agree. It's demoralizing. Man. I feel you. I affirm. And I ask so serious question. When you friend people online, what are you actually looking for? Like a salesman with a foot in the door. But what I'm selling is that sense of belonging. Hoping he'll open that door a little wider until I can step inside and convince him to hand over his password. His keys, whatever I need. Okay, you and me. Tim, let's get this bee-rodeo started. In about an hour, Tim and I are having the bee romance of the century. No, I didn't get his Discord login info, I did one better. And got his home address so we can go from Discord buds to beer buds while figuring this thing out, and while I sneak onto his computer and snoop. I tell him I'll be there in 25 minutes and I call IFT. And now, as I pace outside in the chill winter air waiting for my ride, with Boo peeking out the window after me anxiously, now comes the really hard part, letting my girl know where I'm going without really letting her know where I'm going. 'Cause I don't want her at risk. But I also don't want to go missing. She made me promise. Once. Never to do that to her, never to disappear without telling her where I'll be. I need her to know enough to find my corpse if I die. Oh my god. Jack, I'm gonna kill you. Emma screeches at me through the phone. What? Why? I haven't even said anything yet. It changed my iPad lock screen to a picture of you naked with a flower in your mouth. I did do that. I thought it would be funny, and also Emma's iPad lives in her room, and usually doesn't go out. But behind her patrons are seated around a CIF. The shop bell dinging as people flow in and out, her face close to the screen so she can whisper, and I'm distracted by the way her hair cascades over her bare shoulders. She's stunning as always, like a cop star ready to shoot an album cover. Sometimes I look at this girl and wonder how I ever batted so far out of my league. Emma's smart and successful and has more academic accolades than I can count. Me, I'm a scruffy short dude 5'6" if I'm honest. 5'9" if you're dyslexics. Like I am when writing my dating profile. No job. Not even a GED. Just a checkered past and a nose for trouble. The only award I'm in the running for, and pretty sure I got this thing locked down now, is a Darwin Award. Emma checks over her shoulder to make sure no one's listening. Her cheeks flushed a pretty pink as she whispers, I had a meeting with Yara and left the iPad on the table while I went to use the bathroom and the whole fucking Starbucks saw your bare ass. I burst out laughing. Okay. Did you give out my number and tell them I charge by the minute? Seriously? I'm gonna punch you. Kinky. You promise? I imagine her balling her hands into tiny, cute fists as she exclaims. Stop flirting while I'm scolding you. You know I take kicks back in. IWILL heard you. Yes please. Babe. Come home and punish me. There's the hang-up tone. A moment later. A text message. An FILINGFORDIVORC. This is our love language. I look at the text and smile. But then my heart sinks because I know now that I am not going to tell my girl the truth about any of what is going on. Because if she knows, she will want to save me. And saving me would put her at risk. And the one thing that matters most in the world to me is not putting Emma at risk. I know it's stupid. She's dependable and resourceful, and honestly, she's fucking brilliant. I could really use her help. And I picture Lucia's face crammed in the darkness. Claw hand covering her wide mouth and a stifled scream, and in my mind it morphs into Emma's and no. No, of all the bad decisions I've made so far today, and I've made plenty, this is the one stupid decision I'd actually feel good about. Because knowing she's safe, my heart beats just a little easier. Time now for me to go and pay a house call to my new best bud, Tim. When I near the little cul-de-sac matching his address, I start to feel it. It could be anticipation, could be just ordinary fear or uncertainty over what I'll find. But I've got that sour taste in my throat, too. That metallic tang, and the slight chill on my skin. And by the time my LFT drops me off at the edge of his driveway, I'm sweating and the pit of dread in my stomach has hollowed out, and there aren't even any doors around, but I hear the knocking in my skull now. A persistent hammering. A thud-thud-thud just under the beating of my own heart. And when I approach the front door, it gets louder, until the KNOC king is almost deafening. The windows are dark, and the blinds closed. There's trash piled up in the yard. It hasn't been brought to the curb, just left to fester. I type into Discord. Me, I'm here. I think. That's me ringing the bell. TIM, excuse me not getting up to come greet you. My back's been killing me. And I'm here and back. Any chance you got an open window? TIM, try the kitchen? I usually leave that one crack since it gets real hot in there. Might be a tight squeeze though. A kitchen window is indeed tight. It's one of the few times I'm glad for my weasel ice eyes. The hardest part is getting my shoulders through. And when finally I'm able to squeeze and I find myself crouched on a filthy counter stacked with dishes. There's old pizza boxes. Cartons of half-eaten noodles covered in gray fuzz. Dirty mugs developing their own ecosystem. And a half-empty bottle of Mr. Queen. His face so covered in crud only his eyes peek out. Desperately begging for release. Perched on the tip of a bottle is a cockroach big enough to serve up on a platter. TIM, sorry about the mess. I tell him compared to my last apartment this place is the Ritz. It's not no matter what Emma claims about my bachelor days. Mainly due to the stink. An overpowering reek of mold. Rotten food. BO, and whatever garbage juice is seeping from the pile of trash bags. Who knows? It's rank. I could cocoon myself in my unwashed sheets for weeks. Wake up and shove my face deep into my armpit and sniff. And it'd still smell fresher than in here. And beneath all the ripening odors is maybe another smell, but I can't be sure. I can't be sure through all this stink. TIM, grab a beer if you want from the fridge. I'm about as tempted to grab a beer from his fridge as I am to pluck that massive roach off the counter and pop it in my mouth. But I snatch a couple of beers, and as I make my way through the house living room, bedroom, bathroom, cautiously poking my head in each open room, the atmosphere is dead silent. Finally there is only one room left. Down a narrow hallway toward a door at the end. Slightly ajar. Still no sounds. No tapping keys. No voice calling through the door. Not even a hello. Something is horribly off about all this. I should hear breathing. Creaking. The squeak of a chair or a voice opening. Hey man. I got the beer. I call. Silence. Tim? There is no answer except for the ping on my phone. TIM, come on in. Every instinct screams at me to not come on in. I lean closer to peek through the cracked door, only to gag and stumble back. The stink that stink. Oh God. The smell is so much worse inside that room. Like a slaughtered pig carcass left to rot. And as I lean against the wall, choking on that horrific stench, Tim is still typing, asking me what sort of beer I like. Seriously. What the fuck is going on here? Man? Run, Jack. Are you in? I know it would be a mistake to go inside. Probably the worst mistake. In a day full of bad mistakes that I could make at this moment. And I know what Emma would say to me. Everyone makes mistakes. Jack, for the love of God, you do not have to make a career out of it. But I think of 15-year-old Wayne. I think of Lucia. And Boo the cat howling for her. I don't believe in vengeance. But someone's got to stand up for them. Someone's got to make sure no one else is next. And even if going in there is risky, Emma knows as well as I do. If stupid were a career, my resume would be a mile long. Guess today I'm really gunning for that Darwin Award because I slipped through the ajar door. Pitch. Dark. I slip my shirt over my nose. My skin crawling as if covered in a million centipedes. My sensitivity to the supernatural triggered so hard. Every hair stuck on end. Every nerve vibrating like a plucked cord. Oh, this is bad. This is so bad. At the corner of the room glows a monitor. As my eyes adjust, I make out the silhouette of a slouched figure, hands resting on the keyboard. The hands are not moving. Even in the bluish glare of the screen, the flesh looks bloated, patchy and dark. My shirt muffles my voice. Tim? Hey bud. You good? Tim is not good. I fumble along the walls for a light switch. Finally flick on the overhead lights. And a sudden illumination, so bright it sears my eyeballs. Adrenaline ignites my veins like lightning and I slam backwards into the door. A door that bumps closed and begins pounding with a thunderous K and OCKK and OCK and OCK and OCK that hammers my bones and threatens to splinter the wood. A K and OCK I can barely hear over my sledgehammering heart. All air sucked from my lungs because OFUCK me on every surface in that room are symbols. They cover the walls, the ceiling. They circle in a mad spiral, circling and circling around the slouching figure in that chair. A figure whose eyes have melted out, and in that rotting skin are carved arcane markings. And now I understand these symbols are painted in the murdered man's blood. That's the reason his home stinks so bad. The beer bottles fall from my grip and clatter to the floor as I notice his right hand. Oh, my bad. My brawlance with Tim really was a mistake. Another one for the resume. Because his right arm it has no symbols carved into it. Instead those bloated fingers rest on the keyboard curled around a bloody knife. This is no murderer and he is no victim. Nope. He did this to himself. And in true Jack fashion, I've just locked myself in with him.